Welcome, everybody. I feel it's kind of interesting. There's good news and there's bad news. You know, the good news is that 2020 for business, for real estate, is basically over. So the bad news is any production that you're doing right now in 2020 is for 2021. And as we look at 2020, there's all these things that we couldn't have predicted. And you know, when I talk to people about their production and how it is, COVID always comes up and different things. But when I talk to the people that have had better years than what they had in the past, one of the things that comes up all the time is planning. We can't affect the things that are happening in the world right now, the election, COVID, you know, the low inventory, but we can affect what we do each day. And, you know, from Jason on down, the management team, the leadership team thinks that planning is one of those important things. And always go back to Benjamin Franklin, and he says, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. And I think that is true, you know, 250 years later, that you have to run your business like a business with intentionality, that you know what you're going to do tomorrow. And so, you know, we're lucky enough to have Tay. He is the manager, the leader in Buren and West Seattle. He's been in the business for 20 years, all with the same company. He's been in leadership for 7 years. You know, it's his company, his offices have had 5 straight years of growth, which is not always easy to attain. I'm lucky enough, I got to know Tay from past trainings that we've been together in the managers meetings. And the thing that I really appreciate, well, there's 2 things. One thing is in the managers meetings, Tay talks too, so it's not just me always being the one that says, hey, wait a minute, what about this? So I always appreciate that. But Tay's a doer, he's not just a talker. And then kind of an interesting fact, if you're ever out with him and you may be having an adult beverage, you can always order for him if you order what a 21-year-old college girl would drink. If it has an umbrella in it, that's perfect for him. You may have to pull the umbrella out to give it to him, but he's big enough. He could have that umbrella there. So
yes.
Thanks, Tay. I appreciate you taking your time to help us out today.
Man, I'm going to own that. That's true. That is very true. I drink anything with an umbrella in it. I don't know. I'm not much a drinker, but yeah, thank you for the introduction. I appreciate that. I really appreciate the opportunity to jump on and chat with you all this morning and kind of share some ideas, some theories, some thoughts on kind of not only setting goals and how to set goals, but also how to set yourself up to be able to do that in a highly productive way. I'm going to pop over here and share my screen so we can get to the PowerPoint. Here we go. Let's see. Right on. I think that worked. Did that work?
Yep.
All right. Fantastic. I lost the screen of people. At any rate, that's okay. We'll go with it like that. So today we're going to talk a lot about WIGs, lags, and leads. That is my goal really at the end of this is to give you some ideas on how to set goals and then achieve those goals, right? Setting goals is not enough by itself. We want to actually achieve the goals. So I'm going to go over some ideas and some theories for you or with you. If you have questions, please type them into the chat box. Okay, I can't see it, but I'll go ahead and let David kind of keep an eye for those, and we'll cover those at the end. Also, at the end, Sue, who was asking me a little bit ago before a lot of people were on about lead generation, some ideas there, and I think that Sue at the end is also going to ask about that. So if you feel like the presentation is done and you want to jump off because you're not interested in the questions so much, that's fine. But after the questions, we are going to talk a little bit about lead generation. So look for that. All right. So before we get into anything, I believe in business, before we get into much of anything, we really have to do a process. There is a process to succeed at anything. And my process is very simple. It is mindset, skill set, and then action, right? Mindset, skill set, action. We got to get in the right mindset if we're going to work on our skill set. And today, we're going to work a lot on our skill set, right? That is working in your or on your business, right? Is your goal setting. So today, we're going to work a lot in skill set. And then we're ready for action, right? So if your mind is not in the right spot, if we're distracted, if right now you're doing 2 things or 3 things, right? How are we going to succeed? How are we going to get where we want to go? We've got to get our mindset right. Number one, most important thing. We've all been distracted. We've all had situations where we're pulled in different directions. And if you're being pulled in a different direction right now, I challenge you to go ahead and reset and refocus, right? And let's go. Your skill set. You got to work on your skill set, right? Your skill set, if you don't have the skills, right, you shouldn't be on the black diamond, right? You shouldn't be skiing that tough slope. So today we're going to work on giving you the skills that you need in order to create the goals that you're going to want to have for success in 2021. Did I say that? David, is that right? 2021? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And then we're ready for action. This gal is ready for action, right? Now we're going to get some stuff done. We're really going to get in there and figure out, okay, how are we going to accomplish this? Mindset, skill set, action, and everything that you do and everything that you're planning to do in your business, I would recommend utilizing those 3 stages. Mindset, let's get in the right mindset. Let's get ourselves there. We talk all the time about how we are independent contractors. I'm a realtor. I'm an independent contractor. I'm self-employed, right? But when we say those things, that doesn't really equate to the whole thing, right? We're not just an independent contractor. You're the CEO of your own business. Do you think of yourself in that way? Today, I'm going to challenge us as we go forward to start thinking of ourselves as the CEO of our own business. An independent contractor, that's great, but a CEO, that's the person that makes all the decisions. When you succeed, that's on you. When you fail, that's also on you, right? You get to decide all of the things that you want to do with your business, but also you're responsible for every minute of every day in your business. And I want us to kind of think and focus on that we are CEOs. Many of you, most likely sell millions of dollars worth of real estate every year. You're the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company, a company that moves millions of dollars in transactions and sales. Do you think of yourself that way? Do you approach your business in a way that you can say to yourself, I am the CEO? What does that look like? The CEO is a big, powerful position. Do you feel like you control your business in a big, powerful way? Or do you feel like you let your business kind of control you? I'm going to challenge you again. Think of yourself as a CEO of your business. You are the CEO of your business. Every day, this kind of helps me work on that. Every day, generally for me, it's on my drive home. I reflect on, okay, what happened today during the day? And I ask myself this every single day. Would I hire myself today? Or would I have fired my rear end today, right? The reality is I have to be honest with myself. I have to be truthful. And I have to think to myself, what did I accomplish? And if I was my supervisor, is that appropriate? Was that enough, right? Now, if I didn't do enough today, and I think to myself, yeah, I probably would have fired myself today. I got a lot of work to do tomorrow, right? Not only do I need to get back on track, but I got to make up what I didn't do today. Just doing better tomorrow isn't enough, right? That's not enough for somebody who is your boss that's looking over you and that's deciding, hey, is this an employee that I want to keep? And if you think to yourself, yeah, no, I had a great day and I knocked a lot out of the park today. I got a lot accomplished. I did everything that was on my list. That's great, but I also then still have a lot of work to do tomorrow because I need to maintain that high level of excellence because I am the CEO of my own company and I expect that from myself. So we've got to get our mindset right. We got to get in a good space. We're going to work a little bit more on mindset here. I am a real big proponent of a why and a word. What's your why and what's your word? You're thinking to yourself, I'm the CEO of my own business. Okay, but how do I keep that passion going? How do I can get up and I can think about that and I can work on that for a day, a week, a month, but how do I keep that going? Keeping that going and maintaining the idea of that I'm the CEO of my own business, it all relies on your why and your word. If you've been in this business for any period of time, you've heard the concept of a why. What's your why? Why are you in this business? Why do you do what you do? Why is this important to you? The why statement, I'll read what this is. Why is a statement of purpose that describes why you do the work you do. It's your calling. It's your conviction, right? If you don't have a why, a lot of us have been in the business for a long time and we've heard this, you need a why. And some of us think, well, that's just speaker talk and maybe a lot of bunk. But the reality is this, is that when people know why they have to do something, they have a better chance to accomplish it. I think that's pretty important for setting goals and then achieving them, right? Is knowing why. Let me show you. I'm going to show you an example. What I want you to do is, I know I can't see you, but you can see me. Well, I think you can see me. Can you see me in a little box? Maybe you can.
Yep.
You can. All right, good. What I want you to do is I want you to put your hands in the air. I saw this before. Put your hands in the air, high as you can. If you're not doing it, come on, follow the group. Let's go. Get them up. Now, I told you to put your hands in the air. You don't know why. But if I told you that I was going to give you $100 if you could put your hands a little higher, just get them up higher, could you do it?
Heck yeah.
Of course you can. Of course you can. It's very simple. If I ask you to do something, or if you as the CEO of your company ask yourself to do something, you will do that thing to a certain degree, right? But if you know why you're doing it, you can go all the way. You can do it longer, harder, stronger to the end. Your why is such an important part of what you do in goal setting and how you get to actually accomplish those goals. Let's talk about your words. Words matter. Words really matter. A word is not your why. A word is not your wig, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. It's your word. David and I actually were in a training where we caught this concept, and I'm going to get to it in just a second. I'm going to start with this 80 and 8, 80 and 8, right? Goal setting. Let's talk about New Year's resolutions for a second. I used to do New Year's resolutions. I think that New Year's resolutions were great. New Year's resolution is actually what? It's a goal, right? It's just a goal. I am going to do this in this year. Reality is that 80% of Americans have failed their New Year's resolution at the beginning of February. They don't even make it more than a month or so, right? 8% of Americans complete their resolution to the end. I don't know about you, but that's not really good odds. I don't see that as being a really productive thing to do anymore. When someone grabbed me and said, hey, let's change your resolution, your goal, into a word, something that you can actually use throughout the year, something that you can, if you don't use it for a day or a week, you can come back to it and not feel like, well, I already didn't get my resolution. The idea is to pick a word for your year. And I'm going to challenge you to do that same thing. I'm challenging you to get your why. I'm challenging you to pick a word, something that you are going to utilize to be a part of your business in 2021, something you're going to adopt as a mantra, something that you're going to say, something that you're going to do, something that you can continue to utilize as your year goes through, as you're setting your goals. The first year when I picked a word, I picked the word incrementalism. Oh my gosh, that was kind of a goofy word. In fact, I love it because And the reason that I picked it was because I knew a few years back that, hey, I'm building something and I don't want to build something and go step 1, step 2, step 5, step 12, right? I really wanted to be intentional about my focus on doing my business in increments that make sense, not skipping things. And I told everybody that I knew, my word of the year is incrementalism. I'm working on doing things in this way. It became part of what I did, what I said, how I acted. This last year, my word was intentional. And oh my goodness, I will tell you right now that if I say intentional to one of my agents, they will throw something at me at this point because I use that word all the time. But I really wanted to focus this year on being intentional about everything that we do. I don't want to do things just because that's how we've always done them. I want to be intentional about deciding, is that the most effective use of my time? Or is that the most effective way to do something? So my word for 2020 was intentional. Now I take these words, I write them on Post-it notes, and I put them on my computer screen. And I'm going to show you intentional. Boom, right there. Post-it note. I got really bad handwriting, but they're all right here. Incrementalism. Boom, right there. Right? They're part of who I am and what I do going forward. That has value. So I'm going to suggest and challenge you to utilize a why and a word for 2021 to help you start figuring how you want to set your goals, what you want to do in 2021, and keep that mantra and that idea through the year. It'll be a huge help as you move on. All right, let's get into some goals. I think we're ready, right? With all of our mindset in place, we're the CEO of our own business. We're going to figure out, you've made a little note. I'm going to get my why. I'm going to get my word. Now we're ready, right? Now we're ready for some goals. 4DX, the 4 disciplines of execution. You might have heard this from your sales leaders. Entirely possible. It's a big part of what we've been doing for several years now. And I absolutely love it. It's based on a book by Franklin Covey. The book is really for leadership. Are you in leadership? Of course you are. You are the CEO of your own business, right? We're changing that mindset. I'm not a realtor. I'm the CEO of a business. How does that work? How does that look? How does that feel? WIGs, lags, and leads. We're going to get into this. You ready? The brilliance, one of the things I like the most about 4DX and this idea of setting goals and having lead measures to push those lag measures and get to that goal is that less is more. And we know this. We really do know this. We don't always practice this, right? This slide is fantastic. It shows, it gives the idea, this is directly from the book. It shows that, hey, if we have a total number of goals between 2 and 3, right? We have an opportunity to achieve those 2 to 3 goals with excellence. Now, that's not a guarantee. Have you ever had a goal and you didn't get there, right? You have to put in the work, you have to put in the time, but 2 to 3 goals, you have the opportunity. There's enough time and energy and ability for you to achieve those with excellence. But as you start adding goals, as you start piling on yourself, your returns become diminished, right? We all know this. I know if I try to get 11 to 20 things done in a day, yeah, there's a pretty good chance that none of them are going to get done well. I might get a lot of them done, but there's no way that they're going to get done well. It's the same with setting your goals for your year. Bill Gates says that people overestimate what they can do in 1 year, and they underestimate what they can do in 5 years. It's brilliant. It's true. And it makes sense. If we look at this here again and we go, hey, if I can do 2 to 3 goals well each year, if I can accomplish with excellence 2 to 3 goals, let's just make it 2 for a second. And I do that for 5 years. How many goals can I accomplish with excellence? Well, that's 10. 2 times 5 is 10. Pretty simple, right? But if I try to have more than 10 goals each year, right? If I think that I can pile all this stuff into 1 year, right? How many goals in 5 years am I going to have achieved with excellence? None. I would bet that there are some of you today that are listening to me here that maybe can think back over their last 5 years and go, how many of my goals did I really achieve with excellence? And it might not be very many. That's okay. You have an opportunity to move from today on it into a whole new mindset, right? Some of us might think, gosh, I can only think of a couple things that I've done in the last 5 years. Or you can look back at your business plan last year and see that your goals were to do this and this and this and this and this. And if we're honest with ourselves, we might not have accomplished any or many of those goals. And then if we think, how do we do with those? Were they with excellence? The number might have gone down even more. $40X talks about a cycle of success. This really just hones in what's the core parts of successfully achieving goals. I love this stuff. The first thing is very simple. Focus on your WIG. Focus on your WIG. Have you heard the term WIG? Do your sales leaders mention this? I don't know. But your WIG, your wildly important goal, right? Focus on what your goal is. How do I do that? We have to be very intentional about what it is that you want your goal to be, right? What is my goal? Is my goal random? Is it just a round number of something? My goal is I want to make $100,000 in real estate. Cool. Why? Does it make sense? Have you thought it through? Have you decided, yeah, that's something that I can do because this, and this tell me that I can do that? Or did I just say it because $100,000 is a round number and it's more than I made last year? It's not being intentional, and it's not going to give you something that matters for you to focus on. First thing in setting goals is focus on that wildly important goal. I'm going to challenge you today to choose one wildly important goal. A little bit later, we're going to talk about a secondary one. We'll talk about that in a minute, but ultimately, you're going to pick one wildly important goal, something that you are going to focus on. That's the first step. Simple. Just identify what that is in an intentional and meaningful way. Step 2 is to act on your lead measures. Talked earlier, I mentioned leads and lags. Lead measure, what you're going to do to get to your lag measure, which is going to push your WIG, your wildly important goal. How do you get there? Your lead measures are your action items, right? So we're going to take lead measures and we're going to shove them in, right? And out pops a WIG. That's the idea. It's the same as I'm sure you've been told from your sales leaders, or you've heard this before, you just know this, right? You put lead generation activities into your business and a client pops out. And the more lead generation activities that you put in, right, the more clients will pop out. It's the same idea with your goal. You have to have a WIG, you have to have a wildly important goal. But then you have to have your lead measures, the things that you're going to do that are going to help you get to that goal. What are those activities? What are those items going to be? And they need to be specific. Let's look at some of this. A lag measure. Let's make sure we're on the same page of what a lag measure is. The lag measure is the measurement of what you are trying to achieve. So if your goal is to sell 20 houses this year, and you have now sold 8 houses, 8 is your lag measure. It's just where you are. You can't always control where you are, but what you can control 100% of the time, you can control where you are. We'll get to that later. But your lead measures are the measures, the things that you do that you have 100% control of. Those are your action items. Your lead measure is activities that predict or influence the success of the lag measure. Does that make sense? Let's look at this more practically. Let's put some examples in here. Make sure that we're on the same page. Lag measure. A lag measure is weight loss, right? Once you've lost weight, it's done. It's over. It's your lag, right? Your lead measure in weight loss, if your goal is to lose 10 pounds, right? Weight loss is your lag measure. Your lead measures would be things like this. How many calories you consume. Do you have control over how many calories you consume? Absolutely you do, right? So a lead measure would be to restrict the number of calories you consume. That would be your lead measure. Another lead measure would be calories burned, right? You control how many calories you burn, how much activity you have in a day. You can count that. There's cool watches, right, that will help you do that. Those are lead measures. You have total control of the lead measure, which pushes the lag measure and ultimately helps you hit your goal. Let's look at something real estate related, real basic, super simple. Closed sales, right? Closed sales. If your WIG is to have 20 closed sales, we just did this, right? Then that's your lag measure, or as you go, the number of sales is your lag measure. What's your lead measure? What are the things that you can do to influence how many closed sales that you have? Well, you can have a certain number of contacts to your SOI. That's something that you have total control of. An X number of contacts to your SOI should result in X number of appointments, and X number of appointments should translate into X number of transactions, right? If you don't know your numbers, I highly recommend that you start tracking these things, right? Appointments are lead measures. How many appointments do you have? The things that will lead to more sales are things that you have full control over and are very measurable, right? You can track how many contacts, how many open houses, how many mailers do I put out? And when I do this, how many leads does it produce? And how many of those leads do I close? For everybody, the number is going to be a little bit different. We're going to have different success rates for different activities and just for different people. That's fine. You should know your numbers. It will help you determine what your goal should be. So we've got focus on the WIG. We've got act on your lead measures. Don't focus on your lag measures. You focus on your lead measures, the things you can control. Control your controllables, right? The third thing is that you need a compelling scoreboard. What does that mean? And no, I'm not talking about sports. I'm not talking about, gosh, you do sales and that's all you hear, right? You hear sports analogies and this and that, and I love sports, trust me. But the reality is this, is that sports are no sports. Keeping score matters. Knowing where you are in a process and where you want to go matters. The 4 disciplines of execution, it talks about keeping a scoreboard, something that's engaging, something that is compelling. It talks about a compelling scoreboard, right? And so what does that mean? What does that look like? Well, you're going to have a goal or goals, and you're going to have lead action. It could be something as simple as a spreadsheet that just shows where am I? And it should be front and center all the time, wherever that is for you. Maybe it's at the office, maybe it's on your laptop or your desktop computer, your monitor. Maybe it's on the refrigerator. Maybe it's on your mirror in your bathroom. Your scoreboard should be a part of everything that you do in a day. Not everything you do in a day. Rephrase. Your scoreboard should be something that you are attentive to and that you notice and that you work from every single day. If you don't know where you are, how are you going to get to where you want to be? I have agents all the time. I've got that come to me and they talk about, their goals and they're not hitting their goals, and I ask them where they are in the year, and they have no idea. If you don't know where you are in the process, I don't think that you can know how to get to where you want to be. Keeping a compelling scoreboard absolutely matters. The fourth and last one, be accountable. Be accountable. Did you say the A word? Yeah, and that is a donkey. You know what? I did say the A word, accountability, right? Let's be really, really honest and blunt about something. If you want to increase productivity, the most direct, simple, meaningful way for you to accomplish that is accountability. If you want to increase productivity, you must increase accountability. We all know this. We all want to not talk about accountability because it's uncomfortable, because it's something we think maybe that we don't need. Here's the reality is that people are not good at being accountable to themselves, their spouses or significant others. People think that they're accountable maybe to their kids or their bills, and you're not. You're not. In fact, you show over and over and over again that you're not. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, Tay, I am. I mean, I'm really motivated. I am really passionate. I have a lot of drive. I do a lot of business. That's not the same thing. Having a lot of passion and drive and being somebody who is motivated is not the same thing as being accountable. Without accountability, I can't do what I do. I manage 150 agents in 2 offices, our Seattle office and our Burien office. Without accountability, I can bring all the drive and all the passion that I want, but I cannot drive the results in a meaningful way, at least not nearly what I can do with accountability. If you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, that's fine, Tay, that's you, you've got passion, whatever, but I have accountability. All right, that's great. Let's do a little self-check for just a second. Did you set goals for 2020? Most of us did. How are you doing on those goals? Have you achieved those goals? What about for 2019? How did you do with the goals that year? Now, I'm going to beat on this because I think it is so incredibly important. But if you think back to your goals and whether or not you accomplished the goals that you set for yourself, and if the answer is no, then I would challenge you and say that you're not accountable to yourself or the things that you think that you're accountable to. And that by adding accountability into your cycle of success, just as they mention and preach here in the 4 disciplines of execution, adding that accountability can really be a differentiator for you, difference maker, the thing that propels you further. I don't just talk about accountability. I absolutely do it. I actually am accountable. I've tripled down on accountability. I'm accountable to my bosses, right? Jason and Melanie. I'm accountable. I sit down with Melanie once a month and I have a one-on-one with her. And I gotta tell her, how did I do on the things that I said I was gonna do? Did I hit my goals? Then I gotta tell her what my goals are for the next month. I gotta tell her my lead measures. These are the things that I'm going to accomplish that will push the lag measure and ultimately help me successfully achieve my WIG. That's accountability. That's real accountability. You need that. I have an accountability partner, Joe Stacy. He's one of the guys that leads the Chicago Berkshire Hathway organization, the whole crew over there. He and I talk twice a month. I'm accountable to him. That's kind of a war room setting where we're trying to figure out how can we grow our business? How can we grow? What can we do for our agents? How can we bring in more people? Right? Great conversation. But every single time there are action items that I'm accountable for and that he is accountable for, and we're accountable together twice a month. So I have once a month with my leadership. I have twice a month with my accountability partner, and I have a weekly accountability call that I'm on every single Wednesday morning that has to do with recruiting. And it involves my local managers. We got to talk about how many calls we're going to make, how many texts I'm going to do, how many people I'm going to hire, right? And at the end of the day, that accountability is so strong that I don't want to let that group down. It makes sure that I do not fail to hit what I said that I was going to do. If you don't have that accountability, then what happens? We all know what happens. It slides. It slides, right? 92% of people do not accomplish their goals. They are not accountable to their goals or the people around them or to themselves. 92%. That leaves 8%, right? I don't know. I can't see the number right now. Do we got 70 people, something like that? What's that? 5 people in the audience right now are actually accountable. Have you been in the top 8% in a while? I don't know about me. I don't know that I'm top 8% in very many things, right? Most likely, accountability is a huge part of what you need. So don't sleep on accountability. Find that opportunity. Let's talk about that. All right, Jay, fine. You got me convinced. I need an accountability partner. Yeah, you do. And who should you choose? Your managing broker. Absolutely. Absolutely. Your managing broker would be a great option for somebody who you are going to be accountable to, right? Some of us think, oh gosh, I don't want to tell my managing broker where where I'm failing in the things that I didn't do that I said that I was going to do. My gosh, why would I do that? That sounds like such a horrible idea. The reality is, managing broker sees your sales, right? They already know how you're doing. Lean in. Use your managing broker as a great resource for an accountability partner. Use friends in the business, other realtor friends, people that you know, people that you're comfortable with, that you find somebody that you think that your businesses are similar and you want to work together to grow your businesses independently but together, right? It's a great opportunity to find an accountability partner. Maybe even grab a group of agents at the office. Maybe somebody sends an email out today and says, hey, I'm kind of into this accountability thing, right? Let's do this thing. Who wants to do it? Maybe get a group of people that want to do it. Your spouse or significant other. All right. Probably not. Probably not the best person, right? That's probably not the healthiest thing for your relationship in a different setting outside of business, to be accountable to that person and report what it is that you have accomplished, what it is you haven't done that you said you were going to do. That might not be the healthiest thing. But I am going to give one example of something that I think is brilliant. I don't know if this came from Debbie DeGroat or from someone else. I'm not sure. It's not mine, but I love it. I absolutely love it. If you feel like, hey, I do want to get the people that I live with, my family, my spouse, my significant other, my kids, more involved in my business and help me feel good about growing my business and feel good about accomplishing my goals, you can bring your family into your goal setting. Here's how you can do it. If you tell your family, hey, I am going to do, I know, well, first of all, we all know that this business takes us away from our personal life, right? This is a lifestyle business. It just is. It is hard to turn it off and focus on just the family or just the significant other or just on anything else, right? We know that this takes away from that. So what if we give an opportunity and we show our family that, hey, you know what, if these goals that I have, these lead measures, right? Maybe focus on the lead measure. If I do these lead measures, then we'll all do this together as a group, or I'll make this for dinner on Friday, or whatever it is. Now, this might look like, hey, this month, my goal is to accomplish, 15 open houses in 1 month, right? And so if you keep a scoreboard, a compelling scoreboard at the house, your family can help you stay accountable to that, right? I think it's pretty cool. At the end of the time, then you've got, everybody saying, hey, did you do your 15? Are we going to go to dinner at that nice restaurant, or are we going to do that fun activity? Did you do what you said you were going to do? That's a pretty cool way to get some accountability within the family. Anyway, but not an accountability partner. Your spouse and other isn't going to be the best person for an accountability partner, but you need it. Stop pretending that we are accountable to ourselves. We're not. All right. How are we going to set a goal? What is my WIG? How do I decide? Setting the right goal is crazy important, right? We can't just grab a goal and say, okay, well, that sounds good. That sounds fine. We have to have a plan with it. It has to make sense, right? It has to be specific. It has to be achievable. It needs to be realistic, right? I got an agent that was with me for a few years. Every year we talked about his business plan for the next year. And every year I asked him, what's your goal? Every year he told me the same thing. He said, I want to make $1 million this year. Okay, you can make $1 million in this business. I got a guy right down the hall right now, made $1 million last year. You can do it. It's a great thing about real estate. There's a ton of room at the top. But this guy had never made more than $20,000 in a year. Is that a reasonable goal? Does that actually make any sense at all? I don't think so. I think we need to set goals that are achievable. Goals should be something that stretch you, something that makes you a little bit uncomfortable. You maybe have heard somebody tell you to set a goal and then double it. I don't know about that. But what I do know is that your goal should be something that makes you a little uncomfortable, something you know you are going to have to be intentional and work very hard to achieve. Goals shouldn't be too easy to achieve, then they're meaningless, right? Setting a good goal, a smart goal, is super important. More, less, better. This is not a phrase, it's just 3 words. These are the worst words that you can use when setting a goal. I hear agents all the time. I ask, what do you want to accomplish in 2021? And they say, I want to do more sales. Okay. What does that mean? More than you did last year? More than Sally does? More than Jeff does? 1 more, 2 more, 6 more, 100 more? What is more? It's not measurable. Don't know what that is. Less. I want to do less of this. Less what? Less how? How much less? And better. I want to be a better this. I want to be a better listing agent. Oh, great. Great. Everybody wants to be a how? What? How do you measure that? What does that mean? Your WIG cannot include these words or any other words like this. That's not a goal. That's a hope. It's not measurable. Make your goals specific. Specific. Every goal that you have needs to have 3 things. It needs to have a start line, a finish line, and a timeline, right? Where are you starting? Where are you going to finish? What's your time? So if you thought to yourself, gosh, I want to do a WIG for the rest of this year, right? My goal was to get, my WIG was to get 12 sales, right? And I'm at 8 right now. Well, there you go. Your starting line is 8 sales because you're at 8 sales right now. Your finish line is 12 sales. That's your WIG. That's where you want to end up. And your timeline is between now and the end of the year. That's a goal. That's achievable. It's trackable. You can put that on your scoreboard, right? You can see where you are and you can make adjustments as you go to accomplish the goal. But without a starting line, a finish line, and a timeline, you will get lost in the weeds. Goal has to have all of these items because these are the things that are measurable. Measurable matters. My action plan. Okay, so I did not provide you guys with any material, right? This is super simple though. You can write this down. Super simple. And I'm going to challenge everyone to have 2 WIGs, but 2 different WIGs on different timelines. From there, I'm going to challenge you to talk with your sales leaders because some of you may be in a position where you should maybe have a second WIG, maybe a 3rd WIG. I don't recommend it, really, probably. But that is between you. That is something that your sales leaders are going to know a lot better about. What I want you to do is go from no WIG to a WIG with a plan on how to get there, right? That's what I want for you today. So what's your WIG? What is that important goal? I want you to have 2 of them. One of them, I want you to have, what is your WIG for 2021, right? We need to know what is it that I want to accomplish in 2021. And then I want you to write below it 3 lead measures, right? Now we've done this. We showed some examples. You have an idea of what this means. But I want you to be really specific and very intentional about your lead measures. People will get really loosey-goosey on those leads, and it's not helpful. It's not going to get you there. Real specific on your WIG and real loose on your leads, it's not going to help. It's not going to matter. Your leads need to be a lot like your WIG in that it has to be intentional. It has to be specific. You have to know what it means. So if your WIG, now you do not have to have a WIG that is a production WIG. Your WIG could be something very different. Everyone's WIG could be completely different. That's fine. It doesn't matter. It's what's important to you in your business as the CEO of your business. And the number one part of what is going to control your growth or lack of growth. Your WIG can be whatever you want, just make it intentional. So if we're going to be intentional about our WIG, we got to be intentional and specific about our lead measures. Let's take the example though of production. Okay, it's the easiest one to explain in terms that everybody can follow, right? So if my WIG is that I want to do 20 transactions this year, my lead measures might be something like my lead measure is that I will do, well, let's go back to the open house example. I will do 15 open houses I say 15 open houses. I know how many 15 open houses is a month. That's a lot of open houses, right? If you want to get hit by the bus, you got to get in front of it. You got to be out there. But let's say 15 open houses, right? A month, right? I'm not going to say I'm going to do more open houses. I'm going to say a specific number of open houses. Maybe one of my lead measures is that I'm going to call my SOI, but I'm not going to write as my lead measure, call my SOI. What does that even mean, call my SOI? How many people? How often? How many times in the year? When? Be specific. Your lead measure might be, I'm going to utilize an ABC system to contact my SOI, putting everybody into groups, my A's, my B's, my C's, and I'm going to contact my A's every month and my B's every quarter and my C's twice a year. Now that is specific. That is a real lead measure. I've said what I'm going to do. I've said how often I'm going to do it for each group of for each person or each group of people, right? From there, I got to figure out what I'm going to do to contact them, but that's a great lead measure. We're going to look for 3 things that will drive that lag measure and that WIG. That's your action plan. That's your one for 2021. I want you to do another one almost as a test run, almost as a, hey, let's play with this. Let's tinker with this. Let's maybe fail at this. Let's talk about that for a second, actually. Let's fail at something. We all know that to grow our business from here to go to here, right? We're going to fail at times along the way. And yet we as people are so guarded against failure that we never allow ourselves to fail. And so oftentimes our businesses never grow, or they don't grow as well as they could. They're stunted because we don't offer ourselves the opportunity to fail. In my offices, we talk a lot about opportunities to fail. I challenge the agents to go out and fail. Find something to fail at. You don't go out and intentionally try to do bad at something. The idea is to find something that you want to try. And you think to yourself, gosh, I don't think it'll really probably work. I don't know. Maybe it makes me uncomfortable. I'll probably be bad at it. But you're going to go at it with all you got. And if you fail, you look at yourself and go, well, fine, that was my opportunity to fail. I learned from that. I can change it. I can do it differently, or I can pivot and never do it again and just do something else. My staff, once or twice a year, I get them all together and I say, all right, I want to hear an opportunity to fail from each of you. I want you to decide something that you want to try in our office that may fall flat on its face, but it's okay. We're going to try it. I want you to do that same thing, have that same idea or concept, and I want you to do a second WIG. I want you to do one between now and the end of the year. Tough time of the year, holidays, elections, all kinds of distractions and things going on. But I want you to do a WIG for the rest of the year, and I want you to make it something that's not production oriented. What you will find, what my agents find, what we find as a staff, is that more often than not, we actually succeed at the thing that we offered up as an opportunity to fail, because we don't want to fail. And so we do give it that best. But if we didn't give ourselves the opportunity, we wouldn't know just how far and hard and strong we could go, because we were not willing to risk it. Find something that you want to risk on and make that your second WIG. All right, so we've got a WIG, we've got plans, we've got lead measures, lag measures. We've got all of these things that we're going to implement here for our goal setting for 2021. What's going to get in our way? What could possibly get in our way? Well, the whirlwind. The whirlwind could get in our way. And 4DX, it talks a lot about the whirlwind, the things that are going on around us. The whirlwind is the main threat to the execution of your WIG. It's your job. Everything in the day that consumes your time is the whirlwind. You can't get away from it, right? You may have all the intention in the world of working on your business. We know the difference, right? Working on your business is things like lead generation. Working in your business is things like showing houses and appointments and things like that, okay? Working in your business, working on your business. You got to work on your business, but we know that things pop up all the time that pull us away from that, right? You've got your WIG, you've got your lead measures. You know you have to accomplish this many things this week to hit your leads, to push your lag measure to get to your WIG. And yet you get a call from somebody who wants to see a house, or you got a doctor appointment, or who knows, whatever it is. We know that we get bogged down with these things all the time. It's really a good reason why you want to work on your business in the morning. It's kind of a side note, but if you're setting time to work on your business, do it before noon. Because by noon and into the afternoon, you have more day and time for that whirlwind to grab you and throw you offline. You want to hit your goals, work on your business in the morning, to be dedicated to it. Do it intentionally. Examples of the whirlwind, when we just talked about some of those, right? Working from home, some of you are going to get caught up in the whirlwind a lot more. Maybe you've got kids that are home doing school, or you've got a significant other that is working from home, right? Distractions, distractions, distractions. Don't let that whirlwind pull you away from those lead measures. Unless we consistently hold ourselves accountable to the goal, or I'm sorry, well, to the goal, but the goal will naturally disintegrate into the whirlwind. And we know this, we experience this all the time. We've got a list of things we want to do today. And at the end of the day, we look back at the list and go, okay, well, I guess we're just going to push those things back to tomorrow because we didn't get there. Because the whirlwind grabbed you. Focus on the things you can control. Focus on your lead measures and do them early in the day when it can fully take you and just derail you from where you're going. That's what I got this morning. But I want to leave you with just one last thought, one last something for you. And that is this. I believe very, very strongly that our number one asset as a company, Berkshire Hathway HomeServices Real Estate, the number one thing that is of value and asset to you, the broker, is probably the thing that is the most underutilized. The biggest asset is the most underutilized. The biggest asset is your sales leaders. Are you utilizing your sales leaders in the best possible way? It's going to lead me to coaching. When I recruit agents from other companies, when I talk to them about what they're doing and what they need, when they talk about coming to Berkshire Hathaway, the number one thing that they will all ask me is, do you have coaching? Do you have coaching? If I'm talking to these people, it's a good chance that the reason is because they are not happy where they're at. And their number one need, their number one want, their number one question is about coaching. Are you taking advantage of coaching? Are you getting that accountability and that one-on-one coaching with your managing broker? If you're not, you are sleeping on the most important and valuable thing that we have to offer as sales leaders. I will challenge every single person today to reach out and connect with your sales leaders and set up some coaching, utilize some accountability, increase your productivity by increasing your accountability. It's free. You go to the red company, they're going to charge you 25% for coaching. David will actually pay you to coach you. You like that, David? Did you catch that? At the end of the day, utilize your sales leaders, get involved in coaching, set some accountability so that you can get from where you are right now, set your WIG, set that goal, do your why, do your work, and get yourself to achieving your goals. I hope something in that was helpful for you. I hope that you can take something, implement it, and start on your business planning for 2021. I am most interested in hearing. I would love, love, love if you take me up on the concept of choosing something that is your opportunity to fail. Let your sales leader know, and they'll get you my email. I would love to hear what you did and how you did. I would love to hear that you failed. I would love to hear that you tried and you succeeded. Put yourself out there, do something wild, do something different, do something you didn't think you were going to do, and make that your mini WIG. See how it goes. Try it. And with that, I'm going to give it back to David. And I guess we're opening up for questions, right? I got time. Let's do some questions.
That's right. Let's have some questions. Tay, thanks. That was a lot of great information. And as always, you presented it well. So everybody let Tay know what a great job he did.
All right. You guys are too nice. It's too nice. The standing ovation is amazing.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
So does anybody have any questions for Tay? Sue, I thought you had a couple that you were going to ask, didn't you?
Yes, I do. I was just kind of being quiet and letting others have a moment before I jump in. So I don't want to hog the time, but I will go ahead and ask the question because I'm sure it probably is on people's mind. And one of the biggest challenges that we've faced, we always face, continually face, is lead generation.
Sure.
And I'd asked Tay if he had some examples or things that they're doing up in his office that maybe he could share with us that we could incorporate here in our area. So Tay, you said you might have some fun things to share with us.
So yeah, Sue, thank you. Yeah, and it's a great question. And it doesn't necessarily have to do with business planning, although these could be items that you use as lead measures to hit your goals, right? We constantly have to be looking for new opportunities and different ways to do things. Again, my agents hear the same things from me over and over, right? They're tired of hearing it. But the reality is that when there's change, there's opportunity, right? Sometimes we see change and we go, the sky is falling, right? In West Seattle, the bridge is down. There's a big bridge that brings all of the traffic. Everybody that wants in and out of West Seattle, if you know the area, utilizes the West Seattle bridge. It's down. Everybody panicked and freaked out. Well, sales are up, prices are up, average market time is down. There's no problem with sales in West Seattle because the bridge is down. It's changed, but there are opportunities. So some of the things that we have found that are great opportunities for agents right now in lead generation, I'm going to give you 3. 2 of them might be a little bit new or a different idea or a spin on something that you maybe have been doing. And others, the third one is really just an old school, let's get to it kind of a thing, but I'll tell you how to utilize it. So thing number 1 that some of my agents have been doing is really super simple. They have just been utilizing making an ask on Facebook, okay? Everybody's virtual. You know that you're not getting together with people all that often, all those things. So how can we utilize media and things like that in order to drive our business? And the reality is that the people on Facebook are people that know you and you know in some degree. Also, people want to help other people, especially right now. Everyone knows what's going on. Come on, we're living in this world that's a little bit different than it was before. People want to help people, but they can't help you if they don't know how. So I've got agents that are making really simple asks. I've got agents that are putting on Facebook, they're making a post that says, hey, I want to do 10 CMAs this month. Would anybody like to know what their house is worth? And they're just getting flooded with requests. Me, right? Oh, I am thinking about selling my house, actually. I don't need one, but my mother needs one. We have had such a huge response to just making a simple ask. A lot of my agents that are in coaching, part of our coaching is to make an ask once a month. A different kind of ask, right? Be genuine, be sincere, be simple. Don't be creepy. Don't be over the top. Don't be strong with it. It's not a salesy thing. It's a, hey, I'm building my business. I need some help, right? That's one thing that has been bringing in a lot of activity. Another thing that has been really working for my agents extremely well is you can't go out and socialize with people in real life. So let's socialize with them in media, right? On Facebook. I hate Facebook. Can I just say that? I'm not a Facebook guy. If you message me on Facebook, I will respond to you, but it'll be 5-6 months because I don't get on there. But the reality is that's where a lot of business is for you guys, okay? That's where a lot of value is. So if I can't go and get involved in my community, we're big on getting involved in community groups to grow, your base of people that know you, trust you, like you, right? So what about joining groups on Facebook? Facebook has tons of groups, right? Local, right where you're at, right in your town, right on your, in your area. Pick some things that are of interest to you and join a local group on Facebook. You've always been curious about beekeeping. Awesome. Join a beekeeping group. Do not join a group of real estate agents. That's not going to do you any good, right? Find things that are specific to you. Maybe it's religion, maybe it's sports, maybe it's house stuff, maybe it's who knows, whatever it is to you, right? I might join a group of people that want to learn or utilize their ability to speak a certain language, right? A different language than English, right? I want to learn German. I know a little German. My German's not very good. Maybe I want to do more. Boom, I'm going to join a local German-speaking group. The thing is that the minute that you enter that group, you gain credibility that you never earned. You didn't deserve it, but you're there. And if you're there and they're there, and they learn in time as you talk and organically explain that you are in real estate, They'll have an opportunity to go, hey, you're in real estate and I have a real estate need. Can I ask you about the market? Can I ask you about what you do? You have an opportunity to make more conversations with more people. You join a beekeeper group, you can say, hey, I was just, I was just at a house the other day and I saw beehives and it really got me interested. I was showing this house to some clients of mine. You just opened up the door. You said you're in real estate. You don't have to sell yourself. You don't have to make a big thing. Anyway, join groups. One of my agents cheated and she joined a manifestation group. Are you kidding me? Why did I not think of this? You guys are going to be hosed now, though, because everybody's going to join manifestation groups. There's only going to be 1 or 2 in your local area. But here's the thing. Manifestation group, right? These are people that are coming together that want to think on something and share with each other what they want to accomplish. They help each other. She got on there. She says, I want to sell, 10 houses this year or whatever it was. Guess what? Boom, 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 boom. People want to help. She sold 2 houses in the last 2 months from her manifestation group. It's cheating. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. I love it. I love it.
That's the best idea I've heard in a long time.
Oh, it's so good. It is so good. I'm so jealous it's not mine. The third thing that I will share, and I don't know, my guess is that this would work really, really well in your market. You've got limited inventory and you have got quick market return times. My third thing may sound wrong, but bear with me because this is highly effective. I've got people that are doing this and being very, very successful at door knocking. And here's what they do. You don't just go knock random doors. Have a plan, have a purpose, be intentional about what you're doing, right? And here's what we're doing. I've got people in coaching and their plan is to do 2 hours of door knocking a day, each day around a different house. And what we do is we find a Berkshire Hathway listing that either just went pending or just sold and closed. And we look and see, okay, yeah, the market time was a few days or a week and because they had a review period, right? And so what they do is they don't create anything. They just go with business cards in pocket and they figure out how much more did the house get than the list price, right? And then maybe they call the listing agent and say, hey, how many offers did you get on that property, right? And the agent says, oh, we got 6 offers or 3 offers or whatever it was. If they got 6 offers, the agent says, great, thanks. And then they go door knock. Our Berkshire Hathaway agent goes doors knocks around a Berkshire Hathaway sale or pending property. They knock on the doors with the verbal item of value. I think verbal items of value are the most important and most impactful thing that you can have. You have to be ready and prepared. They knock on a door with a mask. They take 5, 6, 10 steps back so that they're not intruding at all. Right? We want to be very, very courteous of people's space right now. They take a bunch of steps back, person opens the door, and you just simply say something like this. I'm with Berkshire Hathaway Real Estate. We just sold the property down the street from you. You probably saw that it was on the market. I just wanted to let you know that house sold for $50,000 over the asking price, and we had 6 offers on that property. That means that there are 5 buyers right now that want to buy a house on this block. Have you thought at all about selling your house? Right? You brought them something of value because you told them what they were wondering anyway. How many offers? How much more did they get? So you've just given them something of value. You've said, we sold this, so it didn't have to be your listing, but it sounds like you're taking credit for it. I think that's fine, right? And at the end of the day, you're giving them an opportunity to say yes or no. They're interested in potentially selling their house to one of these other 5 people that are right now making offers on homes. It's huge. It's huge. It is huge. It's huge, right? Don't know how to say it any more than that. If they say no, say great, totally understand. Again, we have 5 buyers right now. Do you know anybody else on the block that has been talking about selling? No? Okay, great. Have a nice day, right? Did you really intrude that much? Was that really that tough to do? Was it dangerous with COVID? No, you're way back. Right? If they want to know what their house is worth, then you're going to take it from there and you're going to offer to set a time to come back when they're ready because clearly you just knocked on their door out of nowhere. People don't knock doors anymore. It is not intrusive to do something like this. And I have agents that are doing it daily and daily are getting appointments. I have a conference call with an agent today who doesn't know what to do with all of the leads that he is getting because he's never done sales. He just started door knocking. Right? So now he's got to figure out what the heck he does on these appointments. Just saying, it's working.
Good idea. Great
All right,
idea.
there's 3 ideas. I hope something in there resonates.
So we have a couple of questions. One question is, do you have an example, a physical example of a compelling scoreboard?
Ooh, I do not have a physical example. That's a great question. But we can kind of talk through this for a second. Really, a scoreboard doesn't have to be intricate, right? It can really be as simple as, a sheet of paper. I mean, this isn't probably what you're asking, and I understand that. But really, truly, if you have to do your lead measures are, 10 calls a week or 10 calls a day or whatever it is, belly to belly. You guys use belly to belly 10 times a day? You talk about that? Well, you got to get in front of people 10 times a day. All right. So if that's your thing, then, then have belly to belly as your tag, and then, have each day where you're tallying up what you're doing, right? Or did you hit it for your week, whatever your weekly number is? I'm sorry. That's a great question. If I do this talk again, I'll probably try to put something together. But
I think I may have one. Either that, or we'll just take it right out of the book and distribute.
Yeah, the book may have a good one. And, really at the end of the day, just keep it simple, stupid, right? I mean, just don't overthink these things. We spend so much time getting ready to get ready, right? If it's a tally sheet, it's a tally sheet. So long as it's something that you're paying attention to and that you can see and that you can engage with, that's what matters. Are you engaging with it? Are you updated?
Yeah. So our second question is, do you have an example of a WIG for the end of the year? A mini WIG is the way that
the mini WIG. Well, if you want to go boring, you go with, what was your goal, right, to begin with for 2020, and how far are you from that goal, right? But what would maybe an example be? Well, let's take the door knocking for a second. I love this because this makes people really uncomfortable, and I love to make people uncomfortable, because the reality is that growth comes from being uncomfortable, right? When I started managing, I was talking to people. I didn't like to use the word accountability because it made people feel uncomfortable. We talked about reporting and we talked about coaching. We never used the word accountability until I realized, you know what? Until we actually identify what's uncomfortable and try it, we don't know what we're going to do. I think a great WIG would be to make a goal around door knocking. And then do your lead measures. What's your lead measures to door knocking? You could say your WIG is to knock, doors, I don't know, 100 doors or, whatever it is for you. And your lead measures would just simply be find the house, call the agent to find out how many offers. And if it went above asking, right? Order new business cards. I mean, it's real simple, right? But find something that pulls you out of your comfort zone a little bit. Good question. What would be another good mini WIG? Yeah, that's a good question. I'm sorry, off the cuff, I'm struggling here. David's not helping.
How about just doing what you said yourself, which is making an ask every week on your Facebook and following up on those leads, or joining a group on Facebook and being intentional about it, being involved, asking, for leads. I mean, obviously I'm not wording it the way I should.
No, that's fine. And Sue, you're right. And so here, some things that some people may want to utilize as a mini WIG. One might be to get your SOI in order. When was the last time you dusted that off, right? Did you really do it well in the first place? Do you really have all the contact information, right? So, attacking your SOI might be something, right? For different people, different things. Maybe it's just simply, I'm going to call every single person on my SOI. I've had agents that are terrified to pick up the phone, right? That is something that they feel that they're going to fail at. It would be a great WIG for somebody who is really concerned about doing that, is to jump in and do it, because what they always find is, well, those people actually do want to talk to me. We're not talking about cold calling. We're talking about calling people that know you and just having a normal conversation and checking in and saying hi, right? So something like getting your SOI together, making calls to your SOI. Those would be great mini WIGs. Doing something with, hey, I never touched my website. Great. I don't have drip campaign stuff. Anything on the backside of your website that is a tool that you have not started using, great WIGs, right? Great opportunity between now and the end of the year to set yourself up for success in 2021 would be to get in there and get those going. Drip campaigns, especially, for sure. Good question. I think we got there. I think we got there on the answer there.
Yeah, and the good thing about those mini wigs at the end of the year is, traffic normally slows down anyway. So this is the point. This is the time to get those things done that you say in June, I don't have time to do.
Oh, totally. Oh, totally. Yeah, absolutely. Don't find yourself at the beginning of the year going, what did I really accomplish the last 2 months? That's insane. You are the CEO of your own business. You would never allow that from your employees. Don't allow that of yourself.
Right. So I have another question from Melissa. She says, with all the drive to get the leads, I fear taking time off and lose the drive. How do I separate it so I don't get burned out?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. And, honestly, that's one that I struggle with as well, right? Especially for people that are really driven and really high energy, motivated. We don't always know when and how to turn it off. It's very easy to burn out. Really at the end of when you're creating your plan, when you're creating your months, so we didn't get into actually structuring your days and your weeks and your months, right? In terms of time to yourself and things of that nature. But what I would recommend that you do is once you have your WIG and your leads, right, and you know where you want to go, grab a blank calendar and start filling in and be really intentional about what goes in every day. I am really, really big with my agents about you should know today at 10:15 on October 8th what you are going to be doing on Thursday, November 12th at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You should know. You should know. You should know if that's free time to work in your business, on your business. You should know if that's a meeting time, a class time. You should know if that's something that you are doing one of your lead measures. You should know if that's door knocking time. You should know if that is time to yourself. Whatever that time is, you should know it. Because if you don't know it when you get there, guess what you'll do? Probably something a lot less productive than if you already knew what it was you were going to do. Taking time to get ready. So in that, getting to the question specifically, I would utilize that schedule to make sure that I had time that I could turn it off, right? That I intentionally had that time. And so I knew that I had that time. I knew I had that time coming up. And then when it's done, I know that I already accomplished that time and I get back into it. And being able to get back into it is going to be completely dependent on is your schedule set?
Yeah, that's
right. Do you know what you're going to do the next day through the day?
lead area for, so yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Somebody jumped on.
Do we have any other questions for Tay? Well, Tay, I appreciate the time that you took and that you took before to prepare that. I think you look at all the comments. I think you did a great job. Melissa, you have a question?
Yeah, I have tried to do the calendar. I really try to do the calendar. My problem is when someone calls in and they want me to help them, my calendar's shot out of the water because I'm trying to accommodate them because I don't want to lose the business. I'm just having a real hard time trying to balance, and I understand people say, well, you tell them what time you can be there. I don't feel like I can because I'm working for them. I'm trying to accommodate them.
Yeah. No, that's a great question. And I've been doing this for, I'm in my 20th year. I've heard all kinds of people make statements or claims about, well, you need to show them how important and valuable your time is. But for a lot of us, that's not practical. And I think you need to be genuine to yourself, right? I think that's important. And yes, you have to have boundaries, but yeah, you also have to go make that money, right? If somebody wants to go see a house and you haven't sold the houses that you want to accomplish, yeah, you're probably gonna jump at that opportunity. What I would challenge is that I would say that probably for most of us, that probably happens fewer times than we think or are worried about. Also, when you're setting your calendar, you don't cram your calendar completely full, right? you have to work in time, adjusting time, open time to be able to do showings or to be able to work on a CMA that comes out because somebody texts you back or messages you back on Facebook and says they want a CMA or whatever that is, right? So you have to factor that in and give yourself several hours in a day of working in the business time or working on the business time. And if I have the opportunity to work in the business, well, then I'm doing that. I don't know what that is because I haven't gotten that call to show yet. We're working on the business, right? If I'm working on the business, then here are the activities that I will be working on if in this chunk of time that I have left is kind of open or free time, I suppose, if I'm not working in the business, these are the things I'm going to be working on the business.
Hey, Tay.
Yeah.
So here's what to Melissa, here's what I would suggest is that, you know, you're working on your day and you get an urgent call from a buyer that wants to go out and see a house. If I were to say during the day, if I'm the CEO, then I have to say, if I were to call Jason Wall today, say, hey, I got an urgent question about it. Can you stop what you're doing and go talk to me? Jason's probably going to say, sure, I can make time for you. And here's the time, but let's work out a time that works for us. And then most people are more open to be able to get a piece of your valuable time if you've worked it out in advance. And it's, you know, it's okay to say, yeah, I've got a block of time and it's from here to here. Maybe that's not, maybe that person then can suggest it. Yeah, that works for me. Maybe it doesn't. But, you know, a CEO has to, you know, your time is worth quite a bit of money, and you've committed time blocks throughout the day, and it's, you know, it is I don't think consumers are that hung up on having a minute of your time at 1:34 in the afternoon. And I think they can work with you. But,
yeah. No, I think
so
I think that's right.
I'm going to piggyback on what Ken said too. There's a couple of things the number one thing is if you take time out of what you're supposed to be doing to get that WIG because of the whirlwind, you need to turn around and schedule it to when you're going to make it up because it has to be done. But the other thing you need to ask yourself when it comes to setting those appointments, what would you do if you had two clients at the same time that wanted the same appointment? You would say, I have an appointment, I'm going to have to give you a different time. So, you know, I guess that would be my best advice is think about if there's two people. And I don't know about you, but if I go to the doctor and they say I have an appointment at 2:30 when I wanted to be there at 10 o'clock in the morning, I still take that 2:30 appointment.
Yeah, you know, and you're going to find that there's things that you should hold close to, right? You're not gonna, if you're in your lead gen time, right? If you're making calls and that's your hour to make calls for the day, they can wait. If you're working in your business time, well, then you can help them immediately, right? So you're going to find that there's different times of the day that you may have to push or give other options versus, you know, times that you're totally wide open. But it's scheduling in the opportunities to be flexible. It's important. Yeah.
So go ahead.
Nope. Any other?
Any other questions? So
says, please share.
Yeah. So thanks again. I remember everybody out there, there's some tasks that Tay gave you. Number one, you know, figure out what your why is. Why are you doing this? Figure out what your word is. And then, you know, set your WIG or your WIGs and get your lead measures. And Sue put in there that she's going to be calling everybody to see what their WIGs are. And I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm also going to ask you what your why is and what your word is. So, Tay, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. It's always enjoyable.
Can I ask one more question just brought up?
Yeah.
So what's your word? Give us an example of what's your word.
Yeah, well, okay, so I mean, we did talk about incrementalism, right? Was my first word. My second word, or not my second word, but my current word is intentional. Your word really should be something that you want to be, implementing into your business, something that's important for you moving forward. You really want that to be something that starts to come out of your mouth all the time and is at top of your thought process as you're working through your day or through your business.
Okay.
It's something that you might forget about for a few days or weeks. But the nice thing about a word is that it's always there. You can come back to it, put it in a space that you won't forget it. And as you do this, you'll get more and more comfortable. The more years that you do this, I have found that the more I really utilize that word that I choose for the year, and it really becomes my mantra for the year. It's neat. It's neat. I've really enjoyed doing that.
Like Ashley Meekum just said, my word for the year was focus. And that's great because she had a baby this year in March. So to stay focused in a year when you have a newborn.
That's tough. That's your opportunity to fail right there, right? I mean, come on, right in the word. I love it. But yeah. No, focus would be a great word. Just don't let the word be so big that it doesn't mean anything to you, that it doesn't mean anything specific. Focus is a great word, but focus on what and how and why, right? But yeah, focus, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Good word. Yeah, especially when you got a lot of whirlwind happening.
Oh my goodness, do you ever, right?
How do you stay focused?
Good. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate you inviting me to do this. It was a lot of fun for me. And again, I really hope that if you pull a couple things away, fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Thanks, Dave.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Dave.
Go Crush 2021.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Excellent. Thank you again.